Greetings and welcome to the ascended plane of Platinum 5. I currently have not played a game in Platinum, but I just run you through my my recent match history. I believe that it starts recording your wins and losses when you make it to gold. I'm not 100% sure exactly, but as you can see, I have a pretty good record. Most of these are wins. You can see there's a couple of losses in here. But I just wanted to, I know that there's probably going to be a lot of people that are, wanting to figure out how to be competitive in this game, how can they reach the high, that highest rank of platinum, and I know that I'm not in the highest graph yet or whatever, but, in the highest tier of platinum yet, but I just wanted to kind of show how someone like myself who has not played Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitively since late 2017, basically when Pot of Desires came out, and my timeline could obviously be completely wrong, but when Pot of Desires came out, I pulled one and sold it for 80 and never played Yu-Gi-Oh! Again. And then this game came out, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of interested. And then, of course, I hop on the ladder. I basically grinded my way to gold with a Tenyi deck. It was really budget. And when I got to gold, I started realizing that I was not really making as much progress as I was prior. Like, I wasn't winning every single game, just like, because people weren't like normal summoning Elemental Hero Burstinatrix and stuff. Everybody was literally doing this. They were turn 1 activating Eldland, setting 5, and summoning Eldritch the Golden Lord. And none of my cards were, resolving because they have there can only be one, and gold goes in match, skill drain, solemn judgment, torrential tribute, vanity's emptiness, IO, fragrance. This deck is I don't know how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I don't know any of the cards. So all of your cards are vanilla now because I just play skill drain. So, like, you just strap on your helmet, pay 8, feels great. Yeah, you summon the Golden Lord, you pop people with the Conquistador. This is mostly based on a very successful OCG list. Now, the metagame's a little bit different from OCG to Master Duel. Like, Master Duel's in its own unique format right now. And that's why I think Eldritch is like a really, really good option. There's like in Japan they have the Albaz structure deck, and I don't know, like, this is kind of the point of me playing this deck. I don't know all the new cards. There's a lot of cards for me to read. A lot of cards that don't make sense to me, that I'm just like, how is this balanced? But that's neither here nor there, because this deck is not balanced. This deck has, in my opinion, the best grind game, the best ability to play into a going. It's the best going first deck, in my opinion, that you can play in this meta, because basically you're probably going to be ending your board with Eldlord or Eldritch Golden Lord set at least 4, because you're really only drawing cards to draw and traps. So you are going to have a very, very high level of consistency in turn 1, even if you just see floodgates. Like, you see, like, goes in skill drain, there can only be one, vanity's emptiness, anti-spell fragrance. You just set all that stuff, except for maybe one, so you can leave a slot open so that you can activate Eldland if you draw it, activate Conquistador or Hakero, because both of these cards will get you into your engine. They'll get you onto your Eldlord. This card obviously will get you into your Lord. This card gets you onto your Lord. This card gets you onto your Lord. So you've got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 if you count the 2 Lords. 13 if you count the Black Awakening. 13 cards out of a 40 card deck that gets you onto that, and then you have in your 40 card deck, you can see I have 7 cards that do nothing but draw. So this is the list I ended up coming up with. The list that I basically copied was actually playing 3 There Can Only Be Ones and no anti-spells. These were in the side deck, but I have an anti-spell and I don't have the 3rd There Can Only Be One. And I've kind of found that having the variety of floodgates, the variety of floodgates is slightly better. Because a lot of the time you are having to discard one of these to activate Golden Lord's first effect to destroy a card, or you need to send one of these cards from your field to the graveyard to special summon the Golden Lord. And it's nice to not have, or it's nice to not have two There Can Only Be Ones. Maybe you have a There Can Only Be One and an anti-spell. And in this certain game, maybe you're going against Pendulum deck, or you're going up against, you know, like Tri-Brigade. There Can Only Be One's not necessarily like the best. Well, listen, I don't really know what the cards do. That's why I'm playing this Helmet Floodgate deck. But like There Can Only Be One is not great in every matchup. Same thing with Rivalry. I think Rivalry is slightly better because Rivalry does not restrict you at all, but it really can restrict your opponents pretty heavily. That's why I like Rivalry, because it's not going to affect you, but There Can Only Be One will prevent you from summoning the second Golden Lord, which can prevent your damage output a lot. So that's why I kind of like Rivalry slightly more than There Can Only Be One. Obviously, skill drain in this deck is really insane. None of your cards are going to activate on the field at all. As far as the extra goes, I'm missing rank 10s. I only have I have the one. I have this one. I have the Sky Palace. So it's just like 1,000 for game. And then I like it. So I actually like Volcanosaurus and Shark Fortress. There definitely needs to be a Gaia Charger in here. But there's, you know, it's just because you see this little UR ultra rare. Like, there's a lot of ultra rares in this deck already. You know, these are ultra. These are ultra. All the spells are super. These are ultra. This is ultra. This is a super. This is an ultra. These are ultras. So your deck is full of ultras. It has 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 ultras that you need. That's a lot. But most of them are generic. So like your IO, your Emptiness, your There Can Only Be Ones, your Judgments, and your Strikes are all good investments in my opinion, because you can play those in a lot of decks, and I think backer decks are going to be good. I don't know if we're going to get an update that makes this the TCG ban list, but in Japan specifically, there's a lot of stun. It's really good. And combo is just slightly worse in general because of the existence of Maxi. This deck is actually amazing in a Maxi. You get Maxi'd in the weirdest times with this deck. Like, because you can activate Eldlord to add him to your hand and you don't have to special summon him. People will drop Maxi on that. People oftentimes will wait for you to activate your Sanguine, your Black Awakening, or your White Awakening, or your White Destiny, sorry. And then they pretty much at max are going to get one draw, which is really, this deck is just awesome at card advantage and winning in grind games. And that's why I like it so much, and that's why I think I found so much success with it. A lot of mirror matches with this deck. All I really can say is that when it's Eldritch versus Eldritch, it's usually the player is going to win that's better. Going first with Eldritch, like if you win the die roll and you get to go first, a coin toss or whatever, and you get to go first, you should win that game. Like, because obviously you'll have a setup and you'll kind of know what needs to get negated and what can happen and whatever. But going second, you're not completely screwed. Like, it's not like you're going to be completely shut out of the game by anything that the Eldritch deck can do. They're gonna Rivalry, there can only be one. Unless they obviously, if they draw that one of Emptiness or that one of Order, that can really ruin your day. You know, you activate a spell card and you get ordered. It's pretty tough. You don't really have too many spell cards in the deck, just 11. But Emptiness is obviously like a real kicker. Same thing with, like, you know, and none of the other cards really are gonna end your career. I have been Macrocosmos with this deck before, and that's pretty much an instant loss because all your cards need to activate in the graveyard. This deck doesn't have spell trap removal, which is a bit scary. And as a side note, if they get Chaos Max on the board, I'm just trying to think right here because I had to deal with the Chaos Max. Chaos Max is really common because it's like an anime card. Or it's like a Blue Eyes card, and people associate that with the anime. They make that card. Really, you have to draw Skill Drain to out it. There's not really anything else that's gonna, because I believe it's it won't be destroyed by card effects, or you can't target it or something. If you can't target it, TT would also work, but if it can't be destroyed, you would just need your Skill Drain. Aside from that, you know, this deck doesn't really have too many problems. The Spell or Trap removal, you know, you have this Conquistador, and you have the Golden Lord, which can kind of get you to, you can destroy cards on the field with him. That's pretty much it. By the way, Emptiness, this is the sickest card in the deck because of the way that your Eldritch like exists. You can always turn it off, almost always you can turn it off, because you either have a spell, or you have a trap you can send to the graveyard, or your Eldritch is in the graveyard, in which case you can use it, or you can use your Eldritch to discard a card and pop a card on your field. Maybe, you know, you pop the Eldland, you pop the Vaquero that you drew, or the Vaquero or the Conquistador that you drew, and you want to get a search in the end phase. You're not going neg by doing that. You're turning your Emptiness off. You're summoning your dude. It's really good. Emptiness is just this is a card that is begging to be banned. But anyway, this is the deck that I have pretty much used to skyrocket through gold and silver, some of silver. I think I played mostly Tenyi into silver because it was like a more budget friendly deck. And I just was kind of, you know, I'm not unfamiliar with linking, so I kind of learned how to link and link arrows, and learning how to link climb was better with that deck, for sure, because if I would have just jumped straight into this deck, I don't think it would have been, I wouldn't have learned really how links work, as well, but this deck is really, 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 really powerful, because setting back row in this, so you can set 5 pretty much always with this deck. In a lot of trap decks, I feel like you can't do that. I don't really know the Yu-Gi-Oh! Meta too amazingly, but setting 5 with this deck is really good for multiple reasons. So reason number 1 is that cards like Conquistador, Hakero, Eldlixir, Eldland, all of these cards have effects in the graveyard. This card specifically is when it is sent, you get to send an Eldritch or a Golden Land, so that you don't really want to get dustered. And then even if you have nothing that can be good, say you just literally have all the trap cards. Judgment is insane. Judgment will negate Duster, Lightning Storm, cards like that. And you also have another Judgment. You have Golden Land Forever, which you can sack Hakero or Conquistador to activate, which is really awesome too. And you're pretty much always going to be able to get this card one way or another. You can get it basically, I think, just through Eldland. Yeah, it is just Eldland. But you realistically, if you want that card, or you can get it through you can get it through Eldland, or Eldlixir of Scarlet Sanguine. And Sanguine is extremely searchable, so oftentimes you will be activating Eldlixir in the graveyard, the Eldlixir that you did on your opponent's turn to summon your Lord out, and setting Golden Land Forever. Golden Land Forever is really, really, really good. Like I said, it's just like an extra judgment, basically, to protect all your back row. But yeah, this is pretty much Floodgate monke flip deck. In my opinion, this is the best deck in Master Duel. I will probably be continuing to climb. I'll most likely need to craft some cards here. Tyros and Constellar Pleiades are cards that are really good, but these Volcanosaurs and the Shark Forgers, don't sleep on them. They are pretty good, but all these cards are really just here for extravagance and prosperity. I think even if you are trash at the game, you can play this deck and have similar success to me. I'll show you my win rate or my stats really quick. I think I showed the match history just slightly, but you can see essentially that. Okay, sorry, I'm in the wrong thing. You can see that I've played 34 standard duels. I don't know exactly how this is calculated, but I've won 32 of them. Now, I think that I have more losses than that, but that shows about a 94%-ish win rate there. But like I said, I don't know if these stats are 100% accurate. Like you can see, total number of PvP duels, 34. Total number of PvP wins, 32. 17 turn banger, by the way. Won that game. That was a true headache. But anyway, I just wanted to make a quick little explanation about how I was able to get to the highest tier in this game on the very first day of its release. I know that there will most likely be a more competitive ladder as we move forward. You know, just with the game, because I obviously I'm gonna get here. I'm gonna get to this platinum 1, and I may have to change decks. This Eldritch Stun may not be good enough to carry me all the way to the promised land of the very top rank. But when this game came out, I wasn't playing against bad players. Like I legitimately was playing against Japanese players all night. Just people with, I don't even know if they're real Japanese players or just weeaboos with names. It does not matter to me. They all tasted the Eldritch Lord. But anyway, my name is Synthesis, and this has been my first kind of rundown of how I was able to find success in Master Duel without much recent Yu-Gi-Oh experience. How I really was able to, and this is kind of just, I actually want to make a huge shout out to LITHIUM2300, who is the content creator who I think does the best job tracking the OCG meta. A video he made not too long ago about the OCG meta, just an OCG meta breakdown. This exact deck that I got from it. I will post the Road to the King article that he posted in his description, in my description as well, if you want to read it. I think it's super valuable to look at it. We don't exactly have the same card pool as that tournament did, but every card that was in the Eldritch deck is available, and I know that the floodgates are very format specific, but I think that in the current format that is very undefined, very wide open, the Golden Lord is your best friend, and I think anybody can make the Golden Lord. It's cheap. There's a lot. There are other decks in this game that are obviously really good. Tri-Brigade is another really good, obvious one. But I just want to play traps. I just want to set five trap cards going first. You know, it's best of ones, so you don't this deck is I feel significantly weaker in a best of 3 environment because people obviously will be able to side. See, I don't know exactly all of the new hate cards that have come out for back row, but I know there's a lot. There's like Red Reboot. There's like Evenly Matched. There's like Lightning Storm, Duster, all these cards that people are not main decking that definitely would be in a side deck. This deck just never has to see game 2. It never has to deal with the nightmare of game 2. Everybody just has to suffer, basically. My floodgates are getting flipped, and you don't have mystical space typhoons in your deck. And my boy Eldritch is the Golden Lord. He's gonna make that sick pose he's got right there. Look at him posing. You just lose because I summoned my Eld Lord, and your cards don't have effects, and it's 2800 defense. You can't even get over it. Back on my turn, I'm using the one in my graveyard, bringing it back to my hand, not even special summoning it, or maybe I am special summoning it for 35 and just beating you, or I'm just activating its effect in his hand to pop cards on the field. Like, I don't have to battle you. Anyway, this deck, any way you look at it, this deck's grind game is really spectacular. There's OTKs with Shark Fortress, which is why I included it. Very cheap card you can kind of just toss in there. Gaia Charger, I think, is another card that you should probably have in there. I don't know if that's a super or an ultra. Ultra, I probably wouldn't craft it right this second because I think there's higher priorities. For example, Ash and Valor, which cards that I don't have maxed out copies yet. I would love to actually be able to have those. And I know I could just spend my gems, but I'm going to hold on. I just want to kind of see how things all play out. You know, I actually made the mistake of buying these structure decks, 3 of each of these, without really looking at them. I would definitely say don't do that. Maybe I'll make a video about, like, you know, the economics of dueling, or Master Duel, like what cards you should really be looking to buy, looking to get. Like there's super rare cards that are really, really good, like the Pot of Extravagance and the Pot of Prosperity. Those are just supers. Craft those. They're really good. This is my first little foray into Master Duel. I think I'm probably one of the top players in the entire world right now. Platinum 4, I don't think maybe there's like 10,000 Platinum players. I don't know how small the population is of Platinum. Anyway, I'm gonna get to that very highest rank. You'll see me. I'll be the #1 in this game eventually. Don't you sweat it. No matter what happens, I'll always have my my platinum my platinum frame, my icon frame 007 showed that I made it to the highest tier in this game. In the first season, I imagine they'll probably have things different. This is, by the way, this is so trashy. Like this little icon frame, this should say something else. But the game is very good, the actual in-game. But the UI is just slightly jank, in my opinion. That's really the only downside. I also yeah, that's it, because the crafting I think is actually reasonable. I think it's pretty similar to the way that Hearthstone was. Except for the one thing that Hearthstone did have going for it is the legendary, the most expensive cards. You only have one of them in each deck. But in this game, the most expensive cards you can and often do need 3 of, which can make it expensive. But the deck that I kind of showed off, that Eldritch Stun, that's gonna give you a huge advantage in the fact that there's not really that many cards that you're creating that are just specific for this deck. Like, you're getting generic traps and generic floodgates that I feel like you are probably going to be able to play going forward in a variety of different strategies. So that's why I think that if you're just getting started and you want just a really strong option to kind of either get into this game or get reacquainted with Yu-Gi-Oh, like me, that's kind of the situation I'm in. And I do want to preface, like, I'm not like a new player. Like, I qualified for the NAWCQ in 2016 and participated in that tournament. So I have a regional, actually technically have a regional victory in a Las Vegas like YCS regional flight. That's how I got my invite that year during YCS Las Vegas in 2016, I believe. My time could be a little bit incorrect, but that's essentially all I have to say for this video. It's probably dragged on for a lot longer than it needed to, but I think that it's just it's good to just get a lot of my thoughts out initially. Anyway, appreciate your support, and I'll see you in the next one.